It's time Hello and good morning.
Happy
Happy
Sunday.
Sunday, beautiful people. It is so good to be here with each and every one of you as we are gathered here on this beautiful Sunday morning to celebrate the magnificence of God in, through, and as us. Let us begin, as we always do, with prayer. And this morning, our prayer champion, Reverend Shauna, will lead us in prayer.
Good morning, beautiful people. Happy Sunday. Let us pray. Relax wherever you are. Be aware that we are here now. My mind is calm, my heart is open, and my thoughts are focused on the truth. God is the first cause of everything, seen and unseen. God is all knowledge, timelessness, eternal spirit. God surpasses words. God is the one mind and the one spirit. God is infinite supply and immeasurable resources. The I am that created me. We are made of the same stuff as the cosmos, the planets, the stars, the ocean, the forest. God and each one of us are one, magnificent. We can do and have and create anything because it already exists in the mind of God. Our words are powerful. I recognize that God has been with me in every situation, through fires and floods, through joblessness, through homelessness, through illness and death, and in the depths of my despair. God is and is there. When I am fearful that there is enough time, love, or money, I bring my thoughts back to the truth. If God is love, then I am love, and love exists everywhere. If God is timelessness, and I am alive in this moment, I have all the time that there is. When I look at my bank account, my bills, or my debt and deprivation, I focus on the unending source of resources and supply. I seek the kingdom of God within me and know that everything else follows inevitably from that. I recognize that I am the peace of the world. I am the healing of the world. I am the abundance in the world. I am the prosperity of the world. I am the divinity of the world. I am the Christ in the world. I let go of worry, doubt, and fear because I know that I am whole, perfect, and complete. I lack nothing. Therefore, I confidently release these words back into the mind of God. I know that what I decree is already done. I am so grateful to know the truth and that the law works for every single person on this planet. The message, the music, and the meditation today helps to embed that in our hearts, and I surrender to its unfolding. So it is with excitement, anticipation, and joy that I now say Amen, Ashe, and so it is.
Yes, yes, amen, ashe,
And so it
and
is.
so it is. Well, hello again, good morning, happy Sunday. It is so good to be here with each and every one of you on this beautiful Sunday morning. It's wonderful. The weather is awesome here in New York. I hope that the weather is awesome here wherever you may be. As we are here today, I want to make sure that we take time to say hello to our first time guests, anyone that is joining us for the first time. Thank you for being here. We know that you could choose to stream any number of services and you may be streaming multiple services, but of course we're glad that you chose to hang out with us today. If this is your first time being here with us, we would love to hear from you. We would love to stay in touch with you, and it's very easy to do that. Just text the number that you see here on your screen, 347-472-1078. Text the word welcome. No additional messages or things are needed. Just that word, and you'll receive an automated response with a link. Tap that link or click that link, enter your information and submit it. Once you've submitted your information, you'll receive a follow-up text that says you're all set. Once you see that, then you know that you are definitely on our mailing list and will receive our weekly email that comes out on Fridays and any other messages or correspondence that we need to send out to the community. You can also feel free to shout yourself out in the comments, as you already see many people, folks, our CSC family in Chicago, and of course all throughout the 5 boroughs, wherever you may be. Feel free to let us know where you're connecting in from. Yeah, I think that's it on that. We're going to go to announcements, and then we can get into the meditation and the message. My mind is already on the message, which happens often. Like, it's time to preach.
Get to it.
So we do have a few announcements today, and the first is just a reminder to invite a friend, invite your family, whoever it may be, someone that you know or think may be interested in CSC and what we're teaching and what we're all about, someone who may need encouragement as we are still in the midst of a global pandemic. Which I guess saying pandemic means it's global, right? So as we are still in the midst of a pandemic, recognizing that also has economic impact in certain folks' lives, and so you may want to send them the Thrive series, which has been supportive to so many in the community. You may want to send them the We Got Games series, whatever it may be. Invite them, and sending a link to previous live streams, to previous messages is always a great way to let folks know what we're all about. Every Wednesday morning at 7 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, we gather for prayer. The information to connect to the Momentum Prayer Call is here on your screen. Just enter the number and the access code and wait. We share a reading that day, normally from the Daily Word, and then one of our prayer champions or myself or Pastor Yolanda lead us in prayer. That prayer is also recorded, so if you're not able to connect at that specific time, it doesn't work with your schedule, it's okay. You can call the playback number at any time, 24/7. Enter that phone number, enter the access code, and wait, and the most recent prayer will play. Also, for our international folks, using the web link, if you want to join us live, is the best way to join us live, by using that web link that you see here on your screen. You may also have a prayer request. And if you have a prayer request, it's very easy to let us know about it. Just send an email to prayerchampions@celebrationsc.org. When you send that email, it's received by Pastor Yolanda, it's received by me, and all of our prayer champions. We are constantly holding the high watch for the community in general, but it is always great to know how to pray specifically, always great to know that there are certain ones within the community that have certain needs, certain desires. It could also be, as many do, you may be submitting a prayer request for a friend or a family member, whomever or whatever it may be. You can send that with confidence and know that it's confidential. It's not shared with anyone. It's not talked about with anyone. We don't even talk about it amongst ourselves because we understand the truth, right? And so we go to the truth. We hold the highest watch and we begin to pray from the realm of the answer.
It is so true. Immediately, the moment we see subject line prayer request, we know what we're dealing with, where we're operating, and we keep our energy there.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So please use that. Feel free to send your prayer requests. And as we always say, when your prayer is answered, you can also email us to let us know that your prayer has been answered, or let us know how your prayer has been answered. As we are still in the 7 Habits series, from the Imagine message, I Think in Miracles, I shared and we opened up the Prosperity Money Game. There's still time for you to join the Prosperity Money Game. Next week will be the last week of this series, so once the series is over, we will shut down the game for new subscribers.
Right.
But this is a wonderful way for you to just jumpstart your imagination, to start to think and plan and expand your mind of what is possible. There are many things that we want. There are many things that we desire, some that we think are out of reach, and we find out by playing this game that it's within reach, that we can actually purchase that thing right now. Also, we get to the point of having a new type of money problem, or you have too much money, right? How now do you circulate all of this money as you have purchased all the other things that you may have wanted and cleared your debts? It's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, it's interesting that we would never think that we would have the problem of too much money, but we begin to see how that could happen and how overwhelming emotionally it can be. And so we get to breathe and play. We use our imagination for good as opposed for worry, doubt, or fear.
Yes, yes. Yes, yes. Yeah. I meant to have a book with me, and I forgot. I don't have it right next to me. But it's the month of October, and there's something that I start on October 1st every year. I've been doing this for about 10 years. I start a book called The 30-Day Mental Diet by Willis Kinnear. It's an opportunity for me to reset. It's an opportunity for me to realign and to remember what is absolutely true. It's an opportunity for me to get real with myself about the things that I have been holding on to, the things that I've been believing about myself that are not true, the things that I've been believing about others that are not true, the things that I've been believing that are possible for me or impossible for me that are not true. And so it's a way to clean house and set the tone as I begin to create and plant the seeds for the new year. And that's where this process started for me 7 years ago. After using the 30-Day Mental Diet each year, I looked at the calendar as we were a few days before October, and I said, wow, there's 90 days left in the year. We're in the last quarter of the year. And I said, I know that I can create almost anything in 90 days. I've transformed my life in 90 days. I've attracted so many powerful things in 90 days. What would it look like if I use these last 3 months of the year intentionally? And that's where 90 Days to Greatness was born, and particularly this year-end class that I teach. Now, many of you have had wonderful results taking this class with me over the last 7 years and going through this process of vision, dream, nourish, and grow. We use the life visioning process to not tell God what it is that we want to be, do, or have, but tap into what God is seeking to be, do, and express in, through, and as us. Because I've talked about it in the Imagine series, God's imagination is greater than anything that we can imagine or think for ourselves. Mm-hmm. And then I support you in moving through a process of writing those things down and being intentional. But what I've learned over the years is that we use the 30-Day Mental Diet, and I've learned that many people never finish the book. Mm-hmm. And it's actually one of the most important components. So what I've done is narrowed the focus, and I'm offering 2 4-week sessions. And the focus is going to be on the 30-Day Mental Diet. So for those of you who have read the text before, we're going to go through the text each week. We're going to go through some of the daily diets, line by line, precept by precept, and really uncover some of the principles that are there and uncover what's really being said and what's really being asked of us and what's really being pulled out of us, if you will. And so I'm really excited about putting the focus of attention on this book in that way. So if you're interested in joining me, we start pretty soon on October 21st, the first session. It's Thursday nights at 7 p.m. You can go to the link that you see here, celebrationsc.org/register. You can also, of course, register for the second session, which begins in November. And we will be done by December 16th. So we'll be done before Christmas. Again, I'm looking forward to it. What I know to be true, whether you take this class or whether you do something on your own, now is the time to plant the seeds for 2022. Do not wait until this late December. Definitely, please don't wait for New Year's resolutions or January 1st, all of that stuff. It's nice, it's cute, but now is the time. Right? Now is the time, and we understand the metaphysics of it, as I shared last week. If you were going to if you wanted apples, right, and you were planting a tree, you wouldn't plant the tree and expect a full-grown tree tomorrow along with the apples. You have to start early, right, and then give it time to do what it does to then become the full manifestation. If you have any questions, you can, of course, reach out to me. I'm happy to answer any questions that you may have. And I'm looking forward to many of you joining me for this powerful journey. The third Sunday of this month, October 17th, is God Talk Sunday. And the God Talk is a wonderful opportunity to ask questions. It's a wonderful opportunity to learn how to apply metaphysical principles, learn how to apply New Thought teachings to what's happening in your life. It's always an amazing time. It's always an illuminating time. It's always an enlivening time. It's always an enlightening time. As we gather together for an hour, and of course, every question can't be asked in that hour, but what we find over and over again after all these years is that the questions that come forth really reflect the questions that everyone in the space has or sometimes didn't realize they had. And powerful things come forward, and Source is always speaking, and we just simply allow. So we encourage you to join us if you've never joined us before, or if you're a first-time guest and you're hearing about this. It's a great time. We, of course, as we are virtual, the God Talk is virtual. It happens on Zoom. It's not recorded. You have to be there live, and you have to have the link and password, which is sent out via email. So that link and password is in every email that goes out on Friday. So when you join our mailing list, you'll get the information.
Absolutely. And since we teach practical spirituality, we wanted to create a venue for people to bring their questions, their real life questions or concerns, and have someone there to support them in receiving answers.
Yes, yes.
So join us on God Talk Sunday.
And so with that, it is time for the meditation.
Meditation. The meditation experience. I often say we can have all of the knowledge that we choose, and we are a spiritual center that believes in knowledge. But if you have knowledge and you do not experience God for yourself, it's just information. And so we want to do both. We want you to receive the truth and know the truth for yourself. And so we take time every Sunday during our service to meditate, to experience the God within us, because that's where God is, within us. You know, last Sunday, during the message, PG said the Guardian's mantra as part of his message. And I was like, oh my God, that is the affirmative thought for this month. The Force is with me, and I am one with the Force. Just that part alone. But based on the fact that the Force is with me and I am one with the Force, I fear nothing. I fear nothing. Because all is as the Force wills it. The Force, divine mind, is always seeking the good, expressing as the good. And there is nothing in opposition to that. When we realize and recognize and bring our mind, our experience, to that God, that good, we fear nothing. And so this month, our theme, our affirmative thought, the Force is with me and I am one with the Force. The Force is with me. The Force is with you. The Force as God, whatever you want to call it, is here, animating everything. And I am one with it. So knowing that that is the truth of nature and it is the truth of us, let's take that thought into our meditation and our time together. First, go ahead and look around the room and notice that you are in a safe space. Allow your shoulders to relax over your hips so you're not leaning too far forward or too far back, but that nice alignment of the spine so that breath and energy can flow easily through your body and experience. Now, plant the palms on the tops of the thighs and close the eyes, taking this journey inward, where the Force is, where God is, and we fear nothing. And as we have our eyes closed and are focused inward, we just pay attention to the breath as it is right now. No judgment of the breath, just noticing that it is moving And that as the breath is moving, God is flowing. This force, this infinite intelligence is here. Just notice for a few rounds. Last round of noticing. And in fact, appreciating. The breath is not animating us alone. It was created by this God, this good. Beautiful. And now let's take conscious control of the breath. So take your focus, your energy and attention into the low belly. And as we inhale on a count of 4, expand the low belly. Together, inhale now. Hold it there, count of 4. Now, open the mouth and sigh it out, count of 4. Again, inhale into the low belly, count of 4. Hold it there. And open the mouth, relax the jaw, sigh it out. And moving that energy and breath in through the low belly, up through the rib cage now. Nice slow count of 4, expanding the front and the sides and the back of the body. Hold it there. Open the mouth and sigh it out as the jaw relaxes. Again, in through the low belly, up through the rib cage, noticing as you inhale, breath going into new places, expanding. Hold it there. And this time exhaling out through the mouth, but trying not to collapse the chest, just creating a long line of energy. Sending that breath in and up through the heart chakra, center of the chest. Hold it there. Energy expands across the chest and the back. And open the mouth, relax the jaw, sigh it out. I am one with God. I am one with the force. And God, this force is one with me. Last time, inhale, in through the low belly, up through the rib cage, up through the heart. Hold it there, creating a new set point, new reality, new knowingness of God and with God. Open the mouth, relax the jaw, sigh it out. Let's practice a few rounds of this elongated, full, complete, perfect breath in through the low belly and all the way up through the heart. And when you reach the top, close the lips and exhale through the nose. For breath should be long and full. And this will be the form of breath for the remainder of our meditation. In and out, through the nose. Each round taking us deeper into relaxation. Each round reminding us that the God that we know, the God we trust, the God that we believe is here now. This force is with us, and we are one with it. Sending that energy into the feet. Exhale and relax the feet. Energy flows up through the soles of the feet, across the ankles. Relax the ankles. Unobstructed, the flow moves, the force moves, the energy moves across our shins and our calves. We exhale and relax the shins and the calves. We surrender, we bend, we relax and let that energy flow across the knees. Relax the knees now. Energy flows across the thighs, the hamstrings, making its way towards the hips. Relax the thighs, the hamstrings, the glutes, and the hips. Surrendering the lower half of our body, knowing that we are loved and nurtured and that the force is with us and we are one with this force. As that energy gathers at the base of the spine, we imagine our chakra system. And as we inhale, we open and allow the energy to balance and align us with this force. Inhale, exhale, allow. Inhale, exhale, allow. Energy flows in and up. Exhale, allow. That energy continues as we inhale. Exhale, allow it to flow up and out the crown of our head. The force is with me. God is with me. And I am one with this force. I feel it above and below, in front and back of, behind. And I give it permission now to flow back down through. Opening the third eye, activating the throat, across the shoulders and down the arms, out the fingertips. Scan your body one last time. Notice that that energy is open and flowing. But if you find anywhere where it feels tense or tight or blocked, send the breath there and relax into this knowingness. It is one with me and I am one with it. There is nothing to fear. As we go into the silence, and if the mind wanders, it's okay. Bring it back. Letting it have its way. Letting the truth support us as we enter the silence now. With our eyes still closed, we enjoy the sensation of knowing that we are not alone. Whether we are physically alone in our room, we are not alone in our experience, for God is with us. With our eyes still closed, we enjoy how the breath is flowing easily now. And with our eyes still closed, we take mental pictures to bring back with us of how good it feels to be connected. A Course in Miracles says that if you knew who walked beside you on this path, this journey that you have chosen, you would never be afraid again. So as we affirm that there is a force, that God is with me and I am with it, I feel no fear, I feel only connection. Let us bring that connection back with us. Let's make our way nice and easy back into our bodies. Let's signal the return by wiggling the fingers and the toes, or maybe raising the heels, flexing the toes, whatever feels good. And maybe we activate more fully the palms on the tops of the thighs, rubbing the tops of the thighs and the knees and the shins, just waking slowly as love comes back here with you, into this body and into this day. If you are rubbing the tops of the thighs, stop the movement. Inhale, draw the shoulders up by the ears. Exhale as the shoulders relax back and down. Again, nice elongated breath. Inhale. Exhale, shoulders go back and nice and easy, relax down the back. Last time. Inhale. Exhale, shoulders back and down. Bring the palms together at heart center. Bow the chin to the fingertips. And as we bow, we stand in gratitude for those who accompany us on this journey, those who have gone before us. For we all know that this God, this force, the only force, is with us, and we are one with it. Slowly flutter the eyes open, taking in a point in front of you. Inhale, raise the chin, raise the gaze. Release the breath. Namaste.
Yes. Thank you, PY.
You're welcome.
So we are going to hear from Soul 21, and this song is very specific and supportive of today's message. Looking forward to today's message. We're going to be talking about the seventh habit, which is receive. But before we get into the message, let's hear from Soul 21. Rock out, dance out, and I'll see you on the other side.
Everything I seek, it is seeking me. What I desire is desiring me. I let go of doubt, let go of worry, 'cause it will find desire is desiring me. So I can let go of doubt, worry. Because it will find me. Yes, it will. I have no doubt. I can rest and relax. Oh, looking for me. My dreams are looking for me. Oh, my peace is looking for me. Yeah, it won't stop looking for me. Soul 21, can you see, looking for me? Yeah, my dreams are looking for me. Oh, my peace is looking for me. And it won't stop, it don't stop, it can't stop looking for me. Good health is looking for you. Healing in body and mind. My wealth is looking for me. Yes, yes. It won't stop, it don't stop, it can't stop. It won't stop, don't stop, it can't stop. Oh, looking for me. More love is looking for me. And if I have love, then I gotta have joy. More joy is looking for me. And it won't stop, it don't stop, it can't stop. Oh, it will find me. I'm confident because I've seen it over and over in my life. That life responds to my thought, responds to my knowing. I do not have to push, I do not have to beg, I do not have to shove. I simply have to surrender and allow. Band, play it out. See, I know that it will find me. It will find me easily and effortlessly. So I don't worry. Soprano, what do you know? Oh, I know. Also, how is it going to find you? Easily, effortlessly. Easily, effortlessly. Oh, hey. Sinners. Oh, yes, I know. It will find me. Yes. Yes.
Yes. It will find me. It will find me easily and effortlessly. Well, good morning again. Happy Sunday. It is so good to be here with each and every one of you. I'm excited to be here with each and every one of you as we are looking at the seventh habit in this beautiful series, The 7 Habits of Prosperous People. I'm just going to dig right in because we have some beautiful things to cover. Now, first, as a review, what are the 7 habits and what is this beautiful journey, this beautiful adventure that we've been taking? Well, first we started with the habit of surrender, and that sermon was Under the Influence. What I shared in that sermon is the idea of surrender is not about giving up something in that sort of sense that we think of, like, waving the white flag, right? I give up. But to surrender is to get under the influence of God. When you recognize that that it is not you, but God, the Father within, the power within that does the work, you want to surrender to that power. It's also about, as Marianne Williamson writes in Return to Love, staying in the realm of the answer. That's what surrender is about. And then imagine, inspired by my dear brother Common and his song, where he talks about imagining and imagining a new world. And there's a line he says, I think in miracles. Right? And so we begin to live in this place where we use God's gift of imagination and we begin to think in miracles. And then we talked about believe. The message there was inevitable, that we recognize that believing is actually moving into a place of knowing, thinking that this thing is actually possible, that your believing is so real and so strong and so present that your desire is inevitable. And then forgive. The message there was free to forgive. And what I talked about is this recognition, just as we understand, as I just said, that it is not I, but the Father within that does the work. We know that it is God and the power of God, the law that is doing the work of making us prosperous and bringing prosperous outcomes. So it is the same with forgiveness, that it is not you. It is not by your power. It's not by your might. It's not by your strength that you forgive, but it is actually the power of God that is doing the work and forgiving through you. And so when we get to a place where we feel like we can't forgive someone or something or forgive ourselves, it's because we're trying to do that out of our own strength. We're trying to operate out of our own strength, when we must remember to utilize the power of God through us. The 5th habit, give. Step into your overflow. And we talked about time, talent, and treasure, and that giving of time is understanding that first we give to God, we give to ourselves, and then we give to others. And so that talent is a giving to others. And then we talked about giving of our treasure and what that looks like, and what that can look like. We're going to talk a little bit more and reference that sermon a little bit more today. And then last week, pray, the 6th habit, a movement in mind. I gave you the definition from Frederick Bell's, which is a classic science of mind definition for prayer and spiritual mind treatment, that it is a definite movement of mind in a definite direction towards a definite end. And so we talked about what prayer is. I gave you the 3-column formula for prayer, and we talked about making use of prayer and how we can make use of that, and how we can begin to work in that knowing and use all of these other habits as support. And so now we are at the 7th habit, which is receive. Now, I want to remind you, as I talked about in the beginning of this message, curating a prosperous life and a prosperous mind, that these are habits, right? These are not steps. So these are things that we must operate in, understand, and live from collectively, holistically, on a daily basis. And so today's song, It Will Find Me, is really a perfect precursor to understanding this 7th habit and teaching on the 7th habit. And this is why I wanted to use it. Because you see, the song, It Will Find Me, is really rooted in the habit of belief. Right? Everything that we're saying in that song is about a powerful knowing and a powerful belief. Everything I seek, it is seeking me. What I desire is desiring me. So because I believe and know that in my bones, I can let go of doubt. I can let go of worry. Why? Because it will find me. It will find me, right? I'm no longer hoping. I'm no longer wishing for a certain outcome. I'm clear, right? There's a definiteness there. And so in truth, even the words is also, the words of that song, it's a prayer, right? And many of us have prayed the prayer that is contained in that song with powerful results and with a powerful knowing. And it creates a powerful expectation. Yes, yes? Well, last year, sometime before the declaration of the pandemic, I had started teaching Soul 21, a new song. And that song I consider sort of part two of It Will Find Me, right? Because there's a knowing there of it will find me, right? But then we have to move into receptivity. And so that new song was inspired by and based on an affirmation from Catherine Ponder. In her text, Open Your Mind to Receive, we read this affirmation: I am receiving now. I am receiving all the wealth that the universe has for me. And so out of that, I was inspired by that affirmation, and I began to write the song that, again, like I said, is the next thing after you know it will find me and you declare that I let go of doubt, I let go of worry, it will find me. Then you need to move into I am receiving. I am receiving now. I am receiving all the good God has for me. Showers of blessings, showers of blessings. I am receiving all the good God has for me. And then in the chorus, I open up my hands, open up my hands. I open up my hands to receive. Right? It's the second, again, you see how it's the next part that you have the knowingness of it will find you, but now you have to move into receptivity. And so as I'm teaching on receiving today, I actually encourage you to get this book if you want to develop a deeper understanding of receiving and deepen your practice around receiving. Open Your Mind to Receive by Catherine Ponder. What you will find in that text is many of the things that you've been hearing throughout this series, right? Because the truth is the truth is the truth, and the principles are the principles, right? And so it's actually incredibly supportive of you practicing these 7 habits of prosperous people. Again, that's Open Your Mind to Receive by Catherine Ponder. And so it's important that we then learn and understand how to live and move in this beautiful space of receiving and declaring, I am receiving now, so that the thing that we want to find us will actually find us, because we're open and receptive. We're available to all the good that God has for us. We're open and receptive to all the good that is looking for us. So in order to do that, I have 3 words for you to remember as you're thinking about receiving. And so you may want to write these down. You can even put them in the comments if you want. Provide, prepare, practice. As we're understanding and developing our understanding and our practice of the habit of receive, these are the things we must understand. Provide, prepare, practice. Okay. So provide, what are we talking about? When we think about provide, this partially has to do with what we've already talked about in the habit of give, right? But we're going to expand it a little bit, but it's part of the same thing. Now, I was reminded when thinking about provide, I was reminded of something that Napoleon Hill writes in the introduction to Think and Grow Rich. He writes, there is no such thing as something for nothing, right? There's no such thing in consciousness or in the physical dimension. There is no such thing as something for nothing. And so in the Step Into Your Overflow series, we talked about give, right? We talked about this idea as I just reviewed. Give to God, give to you, give to others. Or I said I didn't wear the shirt. I wore the shirt today. Love God, love you, love people, right? It's encapsulated in that. This is natural law. You must exhale in order to inhale, right? You can't hold your breath and it's like, well, I want more air, but I don't want to lose the air that I have, so I'm going to keep this. You literally can't do that. You have to exhale. You have to release what you have in order to bring in the new, right? You must give to receive. You must open your hand. Right? When I give something, I've now opened my hand. Now this hand is open and available to also receive something. You can't have your hand closed and say, I want somebody to put something in my hand. I want somebody to put something in my hand. If it's closed, it has to be open. So this is principle. There's no such thing as something for nothing. And so it's a very interesting thing that when we talk about receiving, what we first have to really understand is providing or giving. Now, here's something that you may not have realized. I hope this is an aha moment for you. Something that you may not have realized as we've moved through this entire series. right? Surrendering is giving. Believing is giving. Imagining is giving. Forgiving is giving. And praying is giving. So in truth, when we think about this series and we think about the 7 habits of prosperous people, and if you want to whittle it down to 2 habits based on principle, we're talking about giving and receiving. The first 6 habits are giving principles, right? When I give up control, when I give up the sense that I'm the power and that it's by my might and by my strength, I surrender and I've given something. Right? When I choose to believe that certain things are possible, I am now giving the universe a frequency, right? Something to then create from my belief, right? I create the mold, as Ernest Holmes teaches us in The Science of Mind, right? I'm giving something, right? Imagining, same thing. I'm creating the pattern, and we're going to talk about that in a second. Imagining, I'm creating a pattern or a mold that then life gets to fill. I'm giving something. Forgiving is literally giving something. And then praying is also giving. So what we're learning is how to practice these habits intentionally so that we are not simply dreaming or wishing, but actually creating a definite pattern towards a definite end. And it's interesting, as I looked back to Working with the Law by Raymond Hollowell, in the chapter, The Law of Receiving, he writes this. He writes, a dreamer or wisher is one who is continually praying, sending out her or his ideas, his or her desires, and is so busy that they get all of their enjoyment out of their dreams. One doesn't know or realize that to realize their dream and allow it to go forth to accomplish what it will in time return to them for good. After you form a definite, clear outline of your desire, then release your thought Godward. Let it go, like throwing a ball out with no string or rubber attached to bring it back to you. So what Hollowell is saying to us here is that there's a giving that happens, right? We could just live in the dreaming and the wishing and the imagining and just live in that space, and that could feel good and that could be nice. But we actually have to give it. We recognize that the universe responds to us. That's why we can affirm everything I seek, it is seeking me. What I desire is desiring me, right? Because we know it responds to us, but we have to give it something to respond to. But did you hear that word definite was there again? He writes, after you form a definite, clear outline of your desire, then release your thought Godward. So I think it's beautiful for us to hear again, what is prayer? A definite movement of mind in a definite direction to accomplish a definite end. And what does that word definite mean? Free of all ambiguity, uncertainty, or obscurity. Unquestionable, decided. So again, if we want to receive, and we're thinking about receiving, and we're declaring, I'm receiving now, I'm receiving all the wealth, all the good, all the love, all the joy, all the peace, all the healing God has for me, right? Then we have to understand that we have to provide. Now, providing or giving, what does it do? It creates the pattern and pathway for receiving. If we go on in that text, Hollowell writes, the law says, it is more blessed to give than to receive. And as you freely give, you freely receive. Unless we are free to extend or give out our desire, our good, the law will not have any pattern to work with. It cannot proceed to supply any need without a pattern. Many try to work the law backwards, and for that reason get little or no results. They say to themselves, well, after I get, then I will give. If you wish any good thing, you must first give some good to build upon. Now hear this, what are we talking about? You must give, you must provide. You must provide at the level of consciousness, right? You must provide your belief. You must provide your imagining. You must provide your surrendering. You must provide your forgiving. You must provide your prayer, your definite movement of mind in a definite direction to accomplish a definite end. That's what we must provide. Now, we also know, and again, so I'm not going to go through all of this because we talked about it in the Give series, Step Into Your Overflow. There's another giving that's required. And if you read Catherine Ponder's text, she says the same thing. There's three pillars of giving, as I talked about in that sermon, right? You give to God, give to yourself, give to others, right? So that's what's happening in the physical realm, right? That you must do that giving. But in the non-physical realm, where the power is, where the cause is, it's important that we understand and give from this place of understanding that we're surrendering is giving, that imagining is giving, that believing is giving, that forgiving is giving, and praying is giving. Because again, as Hollowell says, unless we are free to extend or give out our desire, our good, the law will not have any pattern to work with. Won't have any pattern to work with. Many try to work the law backwards. They say to themselves, well, after I get, then I will give. If you wish any good thing, you must first give some good to build upon. Now, of course, this principle is crystallized, and we've read and heard it from Second Testament scripture in Luke 6:38. I'm reading from the New Revised Standard Version. Give, and it will be given to you. A good measure, pressed down, shaken together, running over, will be put into your lap, for the measure you give will be the measure you get back. We also have to understand, and I will always bring us back to this because we're talking about law, we're talking about a principle. That means it doesn't say give good things and good things will be given to you, right? It doesn't say for the measure you give good things will be the measure you get back good things. The principle is what you give, you get back. So what does that mean? That means that I'm thinking about Earl Nightingale, where he talks about, right, nightshade is a poisonous plant. If I plant the seeds that become nightshade, the ground is going to give that back to me, right? It doesn't say, oh, well, you gave me this, but I know you don't want poison, Greg. That's not what it says, right? It takes what I give it and gives it back, right? The measure, the same measure, right? If I only planted a little bit of poisonous nightshade, I would only get a little bit of poisonous nightshade back. If I plant a whole acre of poisonous nightshade, I'm going to get a whole acre back, right? So this is the principle, right? Very important that we're talking about principle so that we understand that we're not trying to manipulate life. We're not trying to manipulate God. We can't. But we can understand the principle and understand the law so that we can work with it and use it for our benefit. As Ernest Holmes writes, it can be our taskmaster or it can be our servant. Provide, prepare, practice. So we've talked about provide. So what does prepare look like? I think prepare, this is something that may seem simple and obvious, but I wonder how many of us actually do it, right? You have to prepare to receive something. You know, if you were, you purchased some new furniture, right? You purchased a new couch and you had a new couch coming. There's some preparation, right? If there's not already an open space for the couch, like if it's going into an empty space, you would have to prepare that space. If it's replacing one of your current couches, you would have to make arrangements to either have that couch taken away, or maybe the folks that are bringing the new couch have also agreed to take away the old couch. We recognize that on just sort of a logical level, right? That you have to prepare the space to receive it. But I wonder how often we do that when it comes to the life that we say we desire, right? I wonder how often do we do that when it comes to the things we say we want in our lives. You may remember as we studied Florence Scovel Shinn, The Game of Life and How to Play It in the We Got Games series, she writes about demonstrating active faith. Like she tells us the story of the woman who wanted a new apartment, and at that time it was supposedly very difficult to get a new apartment in New York. But she spoke the word, and she knew that new apartment would come to her easily and effortlessly. And after speaking the word, she did something to demonstrate active faith. She bought new blankets for her new apartment, right? And Florence Scovel Shinn goes on to talk about how that demonstrated active faith. This story for me is also exemplified in the story of the widow's oil, which we find in 2 Kings 4, 1 through 7. And I want to just share this, read the story with you. This is the New Revised Standard Version. Now a wife of the member of the company of prophets cried to Elisha, your servant, my husband is dead, and you know that your servant feared the Lord, but a creditor has come to take my 2 children as slaves. This is what happened, unfortunately, in this society. When a woman's husband died, and if they had a bunch of debts and weren't able to pay those debts, the children could be taken in, and probably a better word would be indentured servants, but they would then work to pay off the debt. Elisha said to her, what shall I do for you? Tell me, what do you have in the house? She answered, your servant has nothing in the house except a jar of oil. He said, go outside, borrow vessels from all your neighbors, empty vessels and not just a few. Then go in and shut the door behind you and your children and start pouring into all these vessels. When each is full, set it aside. So she left them and shut the door behind her and her children. They kept bringing vessels to her, and she kept pouring. When the vessels were full, she said to her son, bring me another vessel. But he said to her, there are no more. Then the oil stopped flowing. She came and told the man of God, and he said, go sell the oil and pay your debts, and you and your children can live on the rest. Now, this story, I love. There's so many beautiful metaphysical principles here, and it's used often. You might remember Eric Butterworth in Spiritual Economics uses this story as he talks about substance. But this story is really an example of provide and prepare, right? Because there was something that she already possessed. She was in great distress and wasn't even aware of what she had, didn't think that she had something to give, right? And so it starts with giving, right? Giving preceded the miracle. And so he made her aware of what it was that she had, what she was in possession of. And once she was made aware of what she was in possession of, then he advised her to prepare in a specific way, to gather other vessels so that she could fill these vessels with oil and ultimately to sell this oil and pay her debts. Right? So this is a symbolic story that's giving us an understanding of provide, and it's also giving us a symbol of prepare and a wonderful example of active faith. Now, she didn't initially have that faith. She was in great despair. There's a specific word she used. It says she cried to Elisha, right? So she was in great despair. But once he brought her to her attention what it was that she possessed, and she was able to give something, and then she had something active to do, which symbolically, if we think about, gathering the vessels and even borrowing it from others, this is why we say it's beautiful to pray for one another and to hold consciousness for one another. Sometimes you can't see it, right? Sometimes you don't know it, but your sister, your brother, your family member, whomever it may be, can know the truth with and for you. And so that's a symbol of that borrowing, right? But then also I love here where it says, shut the door behind you and your children. So also she needed to get quiet, get still, right? Remove all distractions and get clear about what it is that she was giving and ultimately desired to receive, right? And once she had expanded her consciousness to a certain point, all the jars will fill, right? If she expanded her consciousness, this is symbolically, of course, metaphorically, if she had expanded her consciousness more, there would have been more jars. But symbolically, that's what the end of the jars represents. But now she had more than enough for the miracle, right? To sell the oil, pay her debts, and her children could live on the rest. So my question to you is, how are you actively preparing? How are you demonstrating receptivity or active faith? And I want you to hear this because, the story, Florence Scovel Shinn shares the story of the woman with the blankets. It doesn't have to be a grand gesture. Like in and of themselves, buying a couple blankets, it's not that deep, right? But that was her way of demonstrating active faith. Preparation also should never be a stretch or a strain. The woman already had oil in the house. This is a huge teaching. Lord have mercy. If you don't hear anything else today, hear this, because I've done it in my life in the past, and I've seen many people do this or try to do this. And this is why I'm always teaching and preaching, it doesn't take a lot, right? This is why we teach 5-5-5. 15 minutes a day is all it takes for a spiritual practice. This is why even we've tried to exemplify that through our volunteer program at CSC, that we discourage and we do not ask folks to volunteer Sunday in and Sunday out, right? It only takes a little bit, right? And it should be something that's without stress or strain. So when you're thinking now, and I know that your wheels are spinning and you're calculating and you're thinking about, what can I do? Oh, active faith. Okay, what kind of blankets? What are my blankets to buy? And what is my oil? And what do I have in the house? And you may find yourself going to something that would stretch you, right? You may find yourself going to something where you're like, I was scared to spend this money. Let me go spend this money. If you're scared, don't spend it. Right? If you're doubtful, right? Or in any kind of worry, don't spend that money yet. That's not the thing. But there is a way for you to demonstrate active faith that's, as we sang in the song, easily and effortlessly. That's easy, effortless, without stretch or strain. And preparation also, it should increase your sense of expectation, which is what ultimately happened with the story of the widow's oil. It's what happens in the story of the woman with the blanket. So this is also how you can also know if you're stretching or straining, right? If you feel you do something that you thought was an active faith demonstration, that you thought you were preparing, but then you find yourself, you're fearful and you're worried and you're like, oh no, I spent that money. Oh no, I don't know, when I'm gonna get paid again, all these kinds of things, then you know that actually wasn't a good way to prepare. It should, whatever you do, should increase your sense of expectation. Provide, prepare, and then finally, practice. Now, practice is an interesting one for me, and I was reminded, you can go back, this was, I don't know, in our first or second year, so it was 2013 or 2014, the Law of Circulation series. And one of the messages in that series that I preached is the art of receiving. And one of the last things I said in that message, I think it was like the closing of the message, I said, the best givers are the best receivers. And what I meant by that is that we've come to understand, those of us who are great receivers, those of you who are great receivers, understand what's really happening and that we're receiving all the time, which is why we can affirm, I am receiving now. See, I know we want big demonstrations, and I know you want all the things that are on your vision boards, and I know you want the stuff, right? And stuff is good. Like, I got stuff I want, right? I know it. But life, God, the universe, the all that is actually giving to us all day, all the time, 24/7 without ceasing. And so the reason why I say the best givers are also the best receivers is because we come to understand this beautiful, symbiotic, unending relationship that we have with life, and life is always giving to us. That we bask in the rays of the sunshine as we are being given sunshine, and we bask in the rays of the moonlight as we are being given sunlight reflected on the moon as moonlight. Right? And we understand, as we, the song we shared, I believe it was last week, with every breath that I breathe, I always find you. With the rhythm my heart beats, I always find you. And so we're seeing and acknowledging and living in this beautiful conversation and relationship of giving and receiving that's happening all the time. But with a little bit of observation, you may find that in some areas of your life, you're actually blocking the things that you want. Because in truth, if we're always in conversation with God and every giving that is coming to you is actually coming from God, then there becomes questions of, are you saying no to the free blessings of God, the free giving of God, right? How do you receive gifts from others? How do you practice receiving? How do you receive compliments? I was reminded there's something that Shonda Rhimes has a book, her book, Year of Yes. And I know many of you are familiar with it. And of course, it was a very popular book released a few years ago. And she tells a story in that book. This is in chapter 10, and she's talking about going to an event that was held by Elle magazine. And actually, this was an event, this was part of her saying yes, an event that she normally would not go to. She wasn't about all of that. But in her year of yes, she's like, okay, yes, I will go to this event. And this was an event that was celebrating women that were doing powerful things in the world. And so she writes this. Before dinner was served, Robbie Myers welcomed us. She was smart and funny as she called out each name and pointed all of us out. Then, explaining why they were chosen for the magazine's list of great women in TV, she named each woman's accomplishments. The accomplishments were innovative, bold, and impressive. A staggering number of powerful, accomplished women sat at that table. And yet, as the editor-in-chief pointed to each woman and named her powerful achievements, without fail, every single woman named did one of the three things. One, shook her head and looked away, waving off the words and ensuing applause as if to say, no, not really. Look, it's not as great as she's telling you. I may be really just mopping the floors and I tripped and fell and accidentally typed that whole script. Two, ducked her head and embarrassed looked on her face. Me? She's talking about me? Don't talk about me. Nobody should ever talk about me. Talk about someone else. If there were any kind of cheers when her name was called, she covered her face with her hands, almost as though she was trying to shield herself from a tragedy unfolding before her. Three, laughed. A mortified, embarrassed, and stunned, I can't believe I'm even sitting at this table with all these awesome people because what she is saying about me is the world's biggest lie, but they let me in the door anyway, laugh. Everything about her says, wow, just wow. And after that was all done, she says that she chose door number 2. So she ducked her head with an embarrassed look on her face. And someone came to her table to have a conversation and was asking her about where she's from. And her immediate response was, did you notice not a single woman in this room can handle being told she is awesome? What is wrong with us? And I love that moment. One, I love that someone as powerful and as brilliant and as accomplished as Shonda Rhimes was able to share this and show us ourselves, right? To be this mirror. Because as I said, we're always in conversation with life, and there's always an opportunity to receive. And so we think, oh, well, Pastor Greg said to provide and prepare, and I've been providing and preparing, but have you been practicing? Right? I know you may be looking for $100,000 to show up and you have a real need for that. Yes. I know you may be looking for and expecting a home and you have a real need for that. I know you may be looking for having a family, right? And I know that's a powerful desire, right? You may have a desire for a new love in your life, and that's a wonderful desire. All those things are true. But are you practicing receiving now? How many of us have done one of those three things in different ways, in different areas of our lives? Shook our head and looked away. No, that's not me. When someone or something is saying you're awesome and reminding you that you're awesome, and in truth, through this event, this was God speaking to Shonda Rhimes saying you're awesome. Ducked her head and with an embarrassed look on her face, or laughed, or mortified, embarrassed, and stunned laugh. Like, I'm not even supposed to be here. I'm a fraud. When we don't accept those things, we're not receiving. And so we have the wonderful opportunity to practice receiving in this way. Many of us have been taught that when someone offers to pick up the bill or offers to treat us to something, it's actually, the most polite thing we can do is to say, oh, no, thank you. No, I'm okay, right? We've been taught that that's somehow the good way to be. But I'm inviting you to consider that the practice of receiving is recognizing that, oh, this is God giving to me right now. And I have all of these other conversations that I'm having with God and things that I'm expecting God to give to me and for ways I'm expecting God to show up in my life. So I'm saying yes to this right now. What's really powerful to me is that in many ways, this book by Shonda Rhimes and her choice to say yes, where she previously always said no, is a practice in receiving. And what's so powerful about this is that she's someone that we would perceive as having more than enough, right? That she should be happy, that she should be in joy because of the money she makes and the accolades she has and the things she's done. But she was not practicing receiving. Therefore, there was no joy in her life, right? The stuff is not the source of joy. Provide, prepare, practice. When we talk about provide, we're talking about the simple principle of giving and receiving, that we must give to receive. There's no such thing as something for nothing. And so at the level of consciousness, we understand that, when I surrender, I'm giving. When I imagine, I'm giving. When I believe, I'm giving. When I forgive, I'm giving. When I give of my time, talent, and treasure. When I give to God, give to myself, and give to others. All right, that's my giving. When I pray, I'm giving. Because I'm creating a mold in consciousness, a definite mold, a definite desire, a definite direction towards a definite end. But then I must prepare. I must practice active faith. I must look for those ways to demonstrate active faith. It doesn't have to be huge. It should be something that I easily have access to. What do you have in your house? And it creates positive expectation and it creates positive momentum. And finally, we practice. Receiving is not about patiently waiting for the thing you're praying for to show up. Receiving is living in a conversation with life, knowing that God is always giving to you. Freely accepting all that comes, freely saying yes to what comes, makes room for more and more and more. I am receiving. I am receiving now. I am receiving all the good God has for me. Showers of blessings. Showers of blessings. I am receiving all that life has for me. I am receiving now. I am receiving all the joy God has for me. Showers of blessings, showers of blessings. I am receiving all the joy God has for me. To that I say amen, ashe, and so it is. Yes, yes.
I am receiving all the good, the blessings, the joy that life has for me, that God has for me. Are we really receiving? If not, I hope we learned how today. I hope we really learned how today, and we're going to practice it this week. Powerful series, powerful message, a lot to go back to. And if you notice that you're not doing one of these three things, it's okay. That's why we talk about it, so you can change and choose again. So powerful. Thank you, PG.
Yes, you're welcome. Yes, and so I look forward. We're going to wrap things up next week because now it's like, how do we practice all 7 things and live in all these things? It could almost seem overwhelming. But I hope that even just this idea of recognizing that we're really talking about giving and receiving, right? And so those first 6 are on the giving side, and then we live the receiving side.
And some of these things you might already be doing, so don't sell yourself short.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely.
What you're doing and receiving the benefit from consistently, keep doing that. We're just adding to it.
Yes, 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 yes. So in this moment, it is time for giving. You see the message, the information here on your screen, and you've seen it throughout the broadcast. It's very easy to give to CSC. You can go to our website, celebrationsc.org/give, or you can text your dollar amount to 744-9500. As we always say here at CSC, we give what feels good. We recognize that as we are prosperous people, there is a practice, right, of giving of our treasure that's important, right? We give of our money because it's symbolic, right? We recognize that money is God in action. And so this is simply a portion of that which is infinite, which is constantly flowing to us. So we give it, but it has to be an amount that feels good, right? Part of that feeling good is just it has to fit whatever your current budget is, right? Not what you wish you could give or you think you should give or somebody told you should give. Keep it real, right? This is the giving that my budget allows, and I give it with joy, right? I don't give it from a place of, oh, this is all I have. That story of the widow's oil, that's what she said. Oh, I only have this one jar of oil, right? That was all she needed. It was more than enough, right? And that bit created the miracle that allowed her to pay off her debts and have money to live off of, right? That's what I love too. If you look at the details of that story, right? She had money to go and sell the oil, pay off her debts, and her family, her and her children could live off of the rest.
Yeah, there's so much in that story
that's God.
That you can live from. So much.
Yes.
And the oil didn't stop flowing until she ran out of it. It would have kept going if she had more vessels.
Right.
Oh.
Right. And so there's this recognition that we have to, no matter what the amount that you're giving, right, it can't be from that only consciousness, right? You're giving from this place of, this feels good, I give in joy, I'm giving to a place where I'm spiritually fed. I know that as I give, it provides a space for others to receive as I've been receiving, to transform as I've been transforming, to be blessed as I've been blessed, right? To expand as I have expanded, all of that stuff, right? That's all of what the good and the joy is. And then we recognize a powerful truth that giving and receiving, it really works. To quote our sister, Reverend Sheila McKeithen, right? She says, giving has a sister. Her name is Receive It, right? So best believe that as we out here giving, we will be receiving. I had PY laughing the other day because it was about $190 came seemingly out of nowhere, unexpectedly. And I was reminded of Reverend Ike. He says, I can't lose with the stuff I use, right? And it was like, this stuff, it just works. I can't lose with the stuff I use. These principles, right? And applying them intentionally and consciously, right? And so when we understand that and we give from that place, then we can affirm this powerful truth. All the money that I use returns to me multiplied. In a never-ending cycle. Of increase. And enjoyment. So to that we say amen, ashe, and so it is. We are continually grateful for each and every one of you as you continue to support the work of CSC, and as we continue to support each and every one of you. We are grateful to do this work, and we are grateful to be of service. Because giving and receiving are one in truth.
Absolutely.
Right? We get it, and it's powerful. And so we look forward to seeing you. If it's not on Wednesday in prayer call, then of course we look forward to seeing you again next week, next Sunday, where we will wrap up this powerful series and continue to move forward in consciousness and love and joy and community. So with that, I think we're complete. And just enjoy your Sunday, right?
Have an amazing Sunday and week,
Yes.
and we'll see you next week.
All right, bye for now.
Bye for now.